Good morning, FESPA. Welcome to Cologne. My name is Scott Donovan, and I'm here this morning to talk to you about selecting and evaluating a digital print textile supplier. One of the first questions to ask yourself in evaluating a supplier is actually, what are you trying to print? A lot of folks are new to digital textile printing, and the problem is becoming, where do I find a printer that can print the items and the yardage and the textiles that I need? So we're going to start this. I'm just going to run through some things where I go through with my clients, product developers, other printers, designers, brands that are looking for digital print suppliers. So the first question is, are you trying to print a garment, a finished garment? Is it a garment that's going to be cut and sewn? Are you going to have placement print on it? Or an overall pattern, or are you going to engineer the garment for the graphics to end up in certain spots on the garment? And also the question you always ask with a digital textile print provider is, what type of fiber are you going to print? We have some examples here of a couple textile garment items. Up in the upper left-hand corner, we have a t-shirt. This pattern could be a regular conventionally screen printed t-shirt or a DTG. We have a cycling jersey over here. These type of products are usually made of polyester, so they're disperse or dye sublimation print. And this is a good example of an engineered print. We have graphics that have to show up on certain areas on the garment. And so each of these panels are engineered for the garment, so the different placements of the pattern, so we don't get logos that need to be on the sleeves for the sponsors and the cameras during the race end up on your neck or around the back. And then as we move into fashion, more yardage and short run digital prints these days are moving into fashion. This shows a pair of women's jeans printed on a cotton denim. Your project could be a flag, banner, or a retail event. This is a little bit different when you start switching here. Here we could have substrates made out of polyester, cotton, silk for higher end applications. In doing this type of project, you think a little bit different with the garment. Sometimes we think in 3D with the engineered garments and construction with them. So this one we kind of run through some very easy questions of, what is my final size? Do I need to find a large format printer or a grand format printer? Large format printers typically up to 1.6 or 1.8 meter, which is 60 to 70 inches for the English measuring world. We have some finishing requirements. Do we need to have some hemming and sewing? Do we need to have grommets? Are we going to have a double-sided product? And in some cases with textiles showing light through them, we need to double-side it and then sew it together and put an opaque liner in the middle of it. So we went over the finishing requirements. What type of shipping requirements do you have? You have one or two banners where you can go down to UPS or FedEx and ship them out yourself? Or are you doing a large project for a large retail chain where you have thousands and thousands of banners, where those banners need to be kitted with hardware and drop shipped to hundreds or thousands of locations? You have some performance requirements. Is your product going to be used inside? It's going to be used outside? Is there any UV application to it? Or is it short term? Is it single term? Are you going to use it once a year? Are you going to fold it up, put it into a box and take it out again the next year? And also installation requirements. Now the best print job in the world, if your installer takes it out and it's sagging or you can't read it or it's backlit and it wasn't supposed to be, will spoil the best printing job in the world. So you have to think through the whole process as you're going through this with your clients. And then we move on to roll goods, which is traditionally, if you're in the textile industry, you're thinking roll goods. So you're thinking hundreds of yards or thousands of yards. And again, with this one, I go through a series of questions of, the first one is, what type of fiber are you trying to print? That'll narrow your printer choice down significantly. There's a lot of folks out there that print textiles, but their printers are set up with single die sets, so they're only confined to one type of a fiber. Again, we come up with what type of width are you looking for? Do you need wide format, which is up to 1.6 or 1.8 meter, or do you need a 3.2 or 120 inch fabric done? Your yardage requirements, we can go from 1 yard or a small strike off up to thousands of yards. Again, this will drive what type of printer and who you choose to do your printing for you. And again, there's performance requirements. Where is this going to end up? Is it going to end up as some home deck on some upholstery for your couch? Is it going to be used for draperies or window curtains? Are you going out into the hospitality industry? Are you going to go into fashion or back to flags and banners again? So I was taught early, probably the first week I was on my first job. I was working as an estimator in a folding carton operation, and the marketing manager, I went in to describe a project with him, and I sat there for 20 minutes and described the project, and he looked at me and he said, "What, do you have a sample of that?" So I ran back to my desk and I pulled the sample that the client had given me, and he said, quite frankly, you should have brought that in here first to give to me. So if you have a sample or something representative of the project that you're trying to achieve, a sample's worth 1,000 words. So now we boil down to and how to find the correct provider. This again is you're on the search for that particular provider. So where do I look for that provider? You can ask your current providers. Do you print this? Do you know anybody that prints this? Visit your local trade associations, your business connections. Your competitors may have different printers that they use. Internet searches, it's kind of a given these days. You can look for outside experts who have more expertise in the field than your suppliers or you do. Or you can just rely on old friends and family, which sometimes might be a little risky proposition. One word of advice with internet providers is I look for consistency on their websites. Anybody can build a website that says they can do anything and show you samples of products that they've done or products that they've photoshopped that they've done. But on those websites, I look for contacts. When I make a contact, I look for the same person. If the physical address says the company's located in Canada, I might be looking for a Canadian accent, or if it's in Australia, I might be looking for an Australian accent. I ask the companies if they have references. And if you start asking these hard questions, your internet providers, you'll dig down and drill down into some of the truths on what their claims are. So we found a provider, we figured out what we wanted to print, we found a provider, now we have some questions to ask of the provider. So I'd like to start off with, what's the easiest way for me to do business with you? I have a product that I want to produce. What do you need from me so that you can price and produce this product quickly and efficiently for me? Again, do you have any references you can share? Any clients that use you now with similar type products? Now that we're talking about digital printing, the question of file specifications always shows up. What type of file do you require of me to make this easy for me to do business with you and vice versa? Next big thing is, how do we communicate our color? I know from previous experience, the biggest problems that we're going to have between printer and client, 80% of the time is going to be a color question or a color issue. I like for them to send me representative samples of different items or similar items that I'm trying to produce. And then I like to get a sample of my product before I produce it. Back when textile printing was conventional, this was a 6 to 8 week process. There were thousands of dollars involved in screens and a lot of separation work on the front end. Now that the process has gone digital, we can generate a small strike off in a few hours if you supply your provider with the correct file. And again, it boils down to communication. Just open up that line of communication, start talking about their friends, their families, where they travel, get to know your provider or your client. So we found we know what we want to print. We found our suppliers, the correct type of supplier, and we found the supplier that we wanted to use. Now we got into choosing that supplier for the production run. How are we going to evaluate that production run so that we can have good, consistent repeatability with that provider? If you think back to the old statistical process control days, they always wanted 30 samples of something to get a good representative sample of what you're doing. These days with digital printing, you might not have 30 of something, but maybe you have 10 or 15 of it. Request that work comes back. But just remember, 30 is the magic number here for a good representative sample. For commercial work, if I'm ordering a couple hundred pieces from a printer, I'll select 30 of those pieces or have them send me 30 random pieces. And what I'll do is I'll just lay those pieces out on a table or an inspection area, and I'll just go through them and see what kind of variation I get on that run. Is it color variation, which you can see the blocks coming across here, vary in color a little bit, which is going to happen in any printing process? Or do you have one that really stands out? If you have a few of these in your sample of 30, you might want to go back and recall that run and go through it a little bit more. For continuous yardage, you can select 30 linear yards of the textile that you got printed, lay it out and do some measurements on it. Look for it for physical defects, or is there places where lint got into it? Is the print sharp all the way through it? Is the print fidelity good? Is the color good? And you'll notice I put a spot here was kind of out of color, which kind of represents of what you might find in a continuous yardage run. So what happens if we lay all our items out in our inspection process is totally subjective? What happens is everybody starts pointing at everybody. That's your fault, you didn't give me the spec on this, it was sewing didn't know, or printing didn't know. So how do we take the subjectivity out of our printing and inspecting process? And I like to upfront again communicate with my print provider and ask them what kind of variables am I going to see in the process? What can I see with my end product that's going to be different from one end product to the other? And as I go through this list with them, I like to find ways that I can put a number on those variables, whether it be how many stitches per length I'm going to see in the hems, how many grommets I'm going to get up one side of it. All these points, if we talk about it before the production run happens, we can put a number to it. With color, like I said, about 80-85% of the issues that are going to come up with any print job, whether it be textiles or paper or plastics or painting a house or painting cars. In the world today, spectrophotometers are a nice, cost-effective way to, again, measure color and actually put a number on the color that you're looking at. Here's two examples. Both spectrophotometers these days, like the X-Rite I1 over there, have to tether back up to a computer or a workstation to get the information off of them. This is on the right here is a small picture of a Node Plus, which is a new device that's on the market. And this device can actually Bluetooth the information back to your phone, so you're getting measurement in numbers right there. Again, we're back to communication. Go through all the steps with your provider, the variables that they're going to find in their process. If during that discussion there's a variable that you can't live with, well, maybe it's time to find another provider, but at least you're talking to them at first, sorting out those questions before you go into production. Again, my name is Scott Donovan. I'm with BleuPrint Creative, and I would like to thank you for your time this morning.